Hello, welcome back to the Evergreen RX. I'm your host, Hayden, licensed mental health therapist, Cancer Moon, and the first to get deep at any party. For any of you guys watching, it might look like a slightly different setup today. I've got horizontal filming going instead of vertical, which is new for me. I'm trying to, up the YouTube game, so we've got more upper body, less lower body, which I kind of love because, no free feet content, no free feet slippage. So anyway, I'm always changing things up, trying to make it better. So let me know what you guys think. But today, Happy New Year, guys. It is officially a new year, which is an exciting time for us wellness girls, is it not? Or it's an overwhelming time, which I want to talk about today, because the new year has such a connotation of let's achieve those big goals. Last year was a wash. I'm going to start fresh this year. I'm going to get it all right this year. I'm going to, do what I want to do and be the person that I want to be. And this is my year. Or sometimes we're like, that's too overwhelming. So just forget about it. I don't care about the New Year's, whatever. I can reinvent myself any damn day of the year, which is true. And also there's a special energy around the New Year's. If there's kind of a collective energy of thinking about the past and reflecting on what worked, what didn't work, thinking about our future, maybe dreaming about our future and what we can achieve or what we would, hope to do in our lives. So I think it is a really potent time, but I want to talk about it in a way that is hopefully less overwhelming, hopefully more inviting and permissive than sometimes we can think about the new year. So that maybe if you're really wanting to capitalize off this time, it feels a little bit better and exciting to you than the general discourse around the New Year's. So that's my intention. I don't know. I'll probably repeat some of the stuff that you guys have already heard, but I like the idea of starting fresh. So even if it's not the new year and you're listening to this episode, kind of going back to that idea that you can start fresh at any time, any day of the year, in every morning, every time that you wake up is an opportunity to start fresh. Every new inhale and breath is an opportunity to start fresh. It really is a mindset, and that's so much based around presence as well. When you really come into the present moment, every moment is fresh and new and provides you the opportunity to be someone new, to do something new, and to make the change that you want to make. So it's really powerful. I hope that this episode finds you in whatever time of life you are and whenever you need it. Yeah, I want to reference some of my previous episodes because I do have an episode, it's Minidose number 5, and it's on Do I Have Too Many Goals? And in that, I believe I dog New Year's a little bit, even though I love it, but I talk about, that idea of really wanting to reinvent ourselves that can be so pervasive at this time, thinking that we need to change all these things or set these sometimes really unattainable goals or set, a high number of goals at one time that kind of sets us up for failure in a way, or disappointment, because we put so much pressure around ourselves, pressure no one can meet, and then when we don't meet it, we feel disappointed. That and also I know in episode 29, my episode with Lauren Larkin, we do talk about this idea of not feeling enough until we believe we have to do more to feel like enough. We have to achieve these external goals to feel like enough. We're outsourcing our happiness. We're outsourcing our worth into the things that we do in our life. And the idea of more. If I can just get to this next goal, if I can just be this certain weight, if I can meditate these certain amount of hours in a week, if I can get this job, then I will be happy. And that is a pervasive old happy idea. And really keeps us stuck in this mentality of always striving and never really getting to pause or enjoy or strive and push while also feeling content and happy. So whenever I'm talking about starting fresh, New Year's, intentions, goals, dreams, I'm always keeping in mind that idea that we don't have to do any of that to be enough. We don't have to do any of that to feel happy either, or to feel content, or to feel alive. And so I just want to keep that in mind as well, that we want to hold on to those two dualities, that we can want more, we can be driven and goal oriented, and we can also enjoy the ride and the journey and know that it's not our happiness is not found off in the future, off in the attainment of those goals. It is right here with us at all times, and we can tune into it. So, anyway, philosophy aside, let's talk about starting fresh and maybe some rituals you can engage in around that. I'm definitely wanting to use some of these rituals for the new year. To be transparent, I am filming this prior to the new year. That's probably not too surprising, but I'm excited to talk about it because I want to also apply these things to how I think about the new year. Because for me, I think I get caught up in the holidays and everything gets so busy. But then the new year just rolls around and I'm like, oh, I didn't do what I wanted to do. I didn't like sit down and have like a real Zen moment over this and think about what is my word of the year. But then I'll get to the new year and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't do the things I want. And now I feel like the new year is passing and I'm not, capitalizing off of it enough. So hopefully this is like a good, I'm hoping to apply this to be fun and exciting as a tool for starting fresh, but also not like too much. So my first thought is to create a theme or a word or a vibe to anchor around for the new period of time you're going into. So normally I create a word for the year, which I know is pretty popular with people. But I also really liked the idea of creating a vibe or a theme. I guess a vibe would be more like a vision board. This can be something you do on Pinterest, or actually cut out, magazines and make a vision board if you're really visual in that way. But also just the idea of a theme, I feel like that's so open to interpretation. It's kind of exciting to me. Like, what could my theme be? Is it a color that has some meaning to me? Is it a story that I really resonate with? Is it a song? Is it a sound? Like, really taking it whatever way you want to create some kind of theme. And if you're super artistic, maybe you draw out this theme, or you compile a bunch of different resources, like I'm saying, like music and art and all these things that just represent the theme you want to carry with you. I think that's really exciting of an idea. And with that, I think you can, pull cards if you're into pulling tarot like me, or oracle cards, or affirmation cards. You can pull something with the intention of it representing the theme for the year ahead or the period of time ahead of you. You could pray or channel or, create a mental image for yourself, a visualization, whatever works for you and really resonates for you. For me, I'll probably take some time to do a, combination kind of pray channel thing. I'm not like praying to anything really specific, but having that intention, time and focused attention on connecting to something greater than me, seeing, what comes to mind, what comes into my mind's eye, and just seeing what I really connect to as the biggest, guiding lamppost, like first step for setting these new intentions. And that leads me into my next point, which is intentions over goals. So creating, and I think I talk about this in my Minidose on goals, creating like a guideline, a vibe, an intention for what you want to achieve, less of like a strict, specific goal, which is so interesting because it is so opposite of like in the therapy world, how we're taught to do goals. There's the SMART goals um and I think there's value to that for sure. Like being specific, creating something measurable, and you know yourself best. If you're a person that's like, I kind of need things to be broken down and really specific, and I want step by step, and I have these very specific goals I want to achieve. So I want to break it down 100%. That's very helpful. Our brain does way better with specific things, with tangible goals, than with big generalities. But what I'm talking about here is, especially going into something as big as a year, really thinking about the general principles or values or energies that you're wanting to tap into for the year. And if you're someone like me who is pretty structured and disciplined with yourself, it can help create more freedom and flexibility than, really strict and sometimes really high reaching goals that can end up leading to some burnout or to some overwhelm really quickly, because we might start out with a bunch of energy for it. We're so excited. We're ready to make these changes. And then as life goes on, and life does, that energy ebbs and flows and things come in and maybe interrupt it. And then we feel like we've fallen off so much that it's really hard to get back to it. So knowing yourself, knowing kind of what you need, what you're feeling called to right now, if you're feeling called to more structure, or if you're feeling called to a little bit more flexibility, and being able to trust yourself and listen to yourself on what feels good on any given day, then using that kind of intentionality in creating your specific list of things or ideas around what it is that you want to achieve in the next period of your life. So I also think that taking stock is really helpful before moving into a new chapter of your life. So looking at your current intentions and seeing what no longer serves you. Maybe, looking at routines and habits you've had. Are you doing them still because you just have been? So you're just in the routine, but maybe they're not serving you as much as they used to be. Have things fallen off and gotten a little loose that you would really like to kind of bring some structure back into? So taking stock of where you're currently spending your time and how that's working for you. And if there are things that used to be really great for you, but it's not feeling as good and you've just been doing it out of habit, maybe seeing if you can let some of those things go and create space for something new. When I was in college, I did HIIT workouts at home on Apple Fitness. I did Apple Fitness HIIT workouts in the morning, most mornings. And I liked that. It worked for me. It was also the pandemic, so I wasn't getting much movement. And then as my life evolved, as I went to grad school, the pandemic eased, my schedule looked really different. I just kind of kept doing that same routine, even though it wasn't really feeling good to me anymore. My body actually started reacting kind of poorly to that type of exercise. I was feeling more drawn to like getting outside, going on walks, but then I wouldn't have as much time because I was prioritizing this other workout. And that became a moment for me of being like, oh, yeah, I wasn't going to just do HIIT workouts for the rest of my life. Just because I did them for like a year or so, that doesn't mean I'm going to do it for the rest of time. So it was time to make a change, time to create a new ritual or routine that felt good to me. And that was like a moment for me as, again, someone that's pretty routine. I was like, oh, just because you do something for a long time doesn't mean you're going to do it forever. It's also helpful when you're taking stock to see, like, have I lost track of the point? Do I do something and it feels so sluggish, or it feels really hard and I'm so caught in the minutia and the day-to-day with it that I've kind of lost track of why I'm doing it? With work, this can be really easy, or with passion projects, especially. Passion projects, hobbies, small businesses, side hustles, whatever it is, it can be easy to lose track of why you're doing that thing. what the ultimate goal is. If you have a hobby and you just are really caught in the thick of it, you might forget why it's important to you and how it aligns with you. And so sometimes it means just really reconnecting to that alignment for you and remembering why you do something and then feeling that renewed energy for it. And sometimes it means making some changes, and maybe it isn't as aligned as it used to be and your priorities have changed. So then I would say to create a supportive environment and start with really sustainable habits. Again, going back to the idea of values and priorities, which I have a whole episode on if you want to know more. If you want to define what your values are, it's episode 8, Finding Your Values. Makes sense. But this is a really helpful guidepost when creating sustainable habits and goals, because you aren't looking out to everybody else and what everybody else is saying and doing and everybody else is prioritizing, and then trying to kind of emulate all of that or taking bits and pieces from all of that, which can end up creating a really overwhelming plate. But instead, really getting to know you and what you specifically value and the gifts and the aspirations that you are meant to pursue in this life and bring out into this world. And understanding that you only have a finite amount of time to do those things. So you are going to feel much more fulfilled and much more impactful and satisfied with your life, I believe, if you are really going whole hog into your values and being really clear on those top 3 priorities, because we only have so much time in a day. And getting clear on those things as a way to kind of guide you in what you're wanting to do in this next phase of your life is really helpful. And then creating a supportive environment around those things. So this can be really practical. Like, say one of your intentions is to have more time to connect with your partner in the morning before work, but you don't have a lot of time between getting up and going to work. Well, can we create a more of a supportive environment? Like, you pick out your outfit the night before. You have everything. You have your lunch packed. If you bring lunch, you have your work bag packed. You have things that you lay out, you do for yourself the night before, so that when it comes to having your tea or your coffee in the morning, you can really sit down and enjoy it for those 10 minutes instead of running around. That's creating a supportive environment. Laying your yoga mat out, or having it somewhere really easily accessible if that's something you're wanting to do more of. Creating a shared Google Calendar with your friend that you're wanting to see. Creating environments and systems that leave things more accessible for you. The things that matter to you, they're more accessible to you. They're more top of mind or in front of you. If there's any barriers that you constantly run into when trying to do more of whatever it is that you're wanting to do, seeing if you can eliminate those barriers or minimize those barriers, and just really setting your environment up for success as you begin to incorporate some of these new habits or move towards some of these intentions, and you begin to build them into your life. Having an environment that is really supportive to those also helps in the sustainability of whatever it is that you're wanting to do. So again, I think I've said this like in so many ways throughout this whole mini dose, but being really realistic with yourself, like maybe you do a journaling session on all the things that you would like 2024 or 2025 to hold, or you create this amazing vision board, and then taking some time to pause and really get real with yourself. Look at what you've put down. Does it feel right? Does it feel like enough? Does it feel like too much? How are you going to do these things? What do you need to do to create that supportive environment? And being realistic about the fact that you will not meet everything 100% of the time. I like the idea of this duality that is like you are more capable than you think you are. And also, you can't do everything. And so it's kind of the idea that like you can achieve much more in 5 years than you think, but much less in 1 year than you think. I don't know. There's some phrase like that. Like we underestimate the long term time, like how much can be accomplished in 5 years, but we overestimate the short term and how much we can do in any given day or week or month. And so just keeping that in mind with yourself, like knowing that you are so capable of the things that you want to achieve. And also you have to rest, and you can't pile too much onto your plate because that will just lead most likely to demoralization and burnout. And so we want to be really careful, really gentle with ourselves in holding both of those things, and always remembering and coming back to the question, are you outsourcing your happiness? Are you outsourcing your contentment? Are you outsourcing your feeling of being enough to these external goals? So if that is happening, and if you're finding that it's creating this sense of overwhelm, seeing if you can take a step back, maybe touch in with loving people in your life, reconnect to why you want to do what you're doing, and also remembering that life is here to be lived and to be enjoyed and experienced fully. And so always coming back to that and seeing in this moment, in any given moment, now moment, is what you're doing working for you? And if it's not, throw it out, because it doesn't define you. It doesn't give you your value. We are taught that our worth is held in these external achievements, but it's not. And that's something we have to remind ourselves over and over and over again. So I hope that this is a good reminder for you if you need it, or anything else I've said. If you're feeling more enthusiastic and ready to take on this new year or this new chapter wherever you are in life. And I would love to hear what intentions you have, or what themes or vision boards you create, or cards that you pull. That would be so exciting to me. I want to cheer you on through whatever you're wanting to do, because you guys, by listening, by supporting me, you're cheering me on in what I want to do and what I'm trying to create in my life. So I want it to be reciprocal. Please reach out to me on Instagram, TikTok, if it's still around, YouTube, email, wherever you want, I'm there. And thank you guys so much for listening. I'm so excited for another year of building this community. And I appreciate you so much for subscribing, listening, sharing, commenting, any way that you engage. It helps me so much. And so until I see you next, I'm wishing you all the best. I am wishing you a beautiful and powerful fresh start, and I'll see you on the other side.